and magic makes it all complete. You have mine. Did you know you are my very best friend?
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation.
Another entry in this top 10 series. We're covering things that should have never happened in the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic series.
G4, not G5.
Alright, so you know the difference.
No, we said franchise, so this show became a global phenomenon with viewers of all kinds, and we mean all kinds, everywhere, all over the world, watching and loving it. And in the 9 seasons, several spin-off specials and comics, it's had a ton of great stories. However, there are some things that could have been way better, but not happening at all in this franchise. But
before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, including catch on future podcasts and Little Paws videos.
Yes, and thank you for joining us today, subscribing to all of our channels, supporting us, commenting, and so much more. We really appreciate all you do.
Yes.
And thank you for helping us on our journey to get to 2,000.
Yes.
So, we're going to start with the top number 1 thing and go to the least this time instead of 10 to 1.
You're right.
Because to us, number 1 was the
strongest.
Yes, the worst offense of all.
Yeah.
So, number 1, G5.
Itself.
It should have never happened.
No. And we don't like it because they've changed so much to it. And it doesn't even feel like we're watching MLP anymore, any version. And we know there are going to be people that say, well, I really like this version even more than G4. I love this as it is. That's great. But the biggest problem is that it doesn't feel like MLP to us.
And then that leads us to number 2, G4 characters being killed off in G5.
Which was horrible.
Yes.
And what people didn't like is that why wasn't G5 its own thing rather than continuation from 4, well, hundreds of years later? It would be a lot less hated if it was its own separate entity. But because they wanted to leech off 4, they went and tried to pretty much retcon everything that happened at the end of G4 that people love to make way for G5 and retrogress all the progress.
And the worst part of that is that they didn't announce it or give you any hint of it. You didn't find out until you watched the crappy movie on Netflix.
Yeah,
and right in the beginning, they let you know
they're all dead.
And that was jarring and horrifying, literally.
Yeah, and it made people furious.
And once you learned that right there made the movie less enjoyable. Before you even started seeing the rest of the movie, it was like, they're not going to be in here. They're gone. You killed them off.
It wasn't even respectfully.
And there wasn't any, Rainbow Dash used to say, or Twilight used to say, or no, they wanted to pretend that they didn't exist and that they were these ancient beings who had no relevance in the modern world.
They're almost myths in their universe.
So that was just pretty horrid.
Right.
Number 3.
Making Discord back to being a villain.
Why?
And we found this out from a review of the comics for G5. They try to continue the story. Well, they show that a few characters from G4 survive, the ones that are practically immortal. And Discord was one of them. However, when we see them, people were kind of pissed because he was a hermit. He's kind of lost his mind because of the death of Fluttershy. He was kind of crazy and kind of planning to take down Equestria again. And they had to, yet again, for the 5th time, revert him back to being good.
But what doesn't make any sense is if he's this type of being, which he was a shout out to Q in Star Trek.
Right.
The lessons he learned from Fluttershy, he would have kept. It wouldn't have made him become angry and bitter. If he wasn't just a regular human, he was someone who learned. So just by the fact that he learns and evolves, that just didn't even fit, and it just never should have happened. It's almost like they were trying to have some drama going on. And just in case you don't know, and you can look this up yourselves, Disney owns part of the rights to MLP. That is another reason why you saw all Disney VAs and actors voicing the characters.
Which we had no idea in the first.
And all of these changes, like Discord and killing off characters, is classic Disney since 2010.
Unfortunately, yes.
Now that leads us to number 4, taking too long to release season 9. Many of us becoming uninterested in the finale.
Yes, and for us included and others we had talked with, we're not airing the last episodes of season 9. We made it halfway through the final season, but we did not see it air anymore. We couldn't find new episodes on our channels and stuff. And the next thing you know, they're announcing the final episodes, and people were watching the finale, and yet we never got to see it. So now, all this time later, we're just now getting to the end, and it's long after everyone else has watched it and has moved on from it.
So we didn't get to be a part of the fandom reactions and enjoying the fandom at all. And it's almost now like with a lot of other shows that pull this, you almost aren't inspired or care about watching it. We're only watching it because we're really huge fans
And we want to
really
finish.
want to know what happened.
Right.
But I do wonder if Disney acquiring those rights is part of the reason why season 9 took so long to release.
Yeah, I wonder.
And why you can't see it everywhere anymore.
Right.
So number 5, Grogar, plot twist.
Yes. The reveal that Grogar is supposed to be one of the ultimate villain of actually the original G1 My Little Pony series when they added their darkness element to it. And then they introduced this character in Friendship is Magic. They thought they were going to have a really epic finale featuring this villain. But after so long, he seemed to be just keeping 3 of the villains under radar, but not doing much. And they actually tried to take him down, and it's revealed that Discord was Grogar trying to get the remaining villains to go good and try to do something good. They got pissed and they started, screw this, we're just going to take down Question ourselves, and he caused the final battle of the series.
Right.
And people were furious because they wanted to see how this show would handle an intimidating villain, because they had done so well with all these other villains that were either original or ones they revamped.
And Tyrek was really a good one too.
Right. So the fact that Grogar was not real to begin with in this version and left people dissatisfied. They wanted to see what this villain could be in this series.
Right, and so are the Changelings. Changelings got a little more coverage in the comics,
Yeah.
but not in the anime.
Right.
So that leads to number 6.
Too much time spent on the Cutie Mark Crusaders after receiving their marks. No hate to these little characters.
Sure.
They're sweet, they're adorable, and we understand the whole point of it was to find the marks and help others. After they got their marks, we thought, okay, finally, so their arc's done.
Right.
And they were even trying to find purpose of what do we do now that we finally got our marks. They don't want to disband. So their new thing became helping others find the marks. But it kept being
Now
more
we have
episodes.
to watch them helping others.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I thought-
no, they should be in the background now.
Yeah,
Back
I
to the main characters.
We thought it'd be like one episode showing this is what they're gonna do now, helping other little foals find their cutie marks, and that's it. But they kept going.
Now, in case you're one of those people that say, well, I love the cutie marks, again, no hate to them. We love them too. We just wanted to see less of them after their arc was finished.
Right.
Not another arc created, yet again, sounding like the influence of Disney, having the child characters or the young characters take the forefront.
Right.
Number 7, didn't adapt any of the comic stories into episodes, and this was a big missed
Yes.
opportunity. Many big missed opportunities because the comics are fantastic.
Yes, we read almost the entire original series of MLP comics, and especially in the early issues, they had some really good storylines. And one of my favorite involved what happened with Sombra and having a backstory for him and how he ended up turning evil and what he was before, and having an arc where they're trying to bring him back to light. And I thought that was one of the best ones. I reread it twice. And when they had Sombra in the series, he just became a sort of joke villain. I was like, ooh, he's spooky and gets defeated easily. And I wish they had used this storyline in the show, because there were so many storylines, including that could have made great episodes or
Absolutely.
movies or Netflix specials.
And one I think would have been huge is the one where Princess Celestia has to go back in time and try to save her sister.
Yes.
And that stretched, I think, 2 comics.
Yes.
And that was like, why would you not make these into episodes?
Yes.
They were so fantastic. Number 8, School of Friendship was a stretch.
A little bit, because one thing people notice that when you watch the beginning of the series, Celestia told Twilight when it came to friendship is something that can't be taught in the school, it has to be something to experience. Then you get to season 8 or 9,
And suddenly,
a school of
and you can
friendship.
teach it. That sounds like Disney.
Yeah, and people were like, I thought this was something that you couldn't teach, but okay. And it wasn't bad when we saw it, but it just seemed so odd to everybody. It's like,
Yeah.
you got a school now? Like, oh, okay then.
So it's like
What? Like, that's
taking what you said and going, you know, we changed our mind. And this happens a lot where they say things aren't canon and then they become canon. And no, we're not trying to demean Disney. We're just pointing out to you that these changes probably are a result of them, because if
Probably.
you had all of these seasons prior to season 8 where they didn't retroact or change or go back on what they said, and then suddenly they do once they acquire part of the rights, then yeah, that's just, you know, it looks like a duck and walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. And we've seen them do that with What If, where they said the first What If wasn't canon. And then all of a sudden they said, you know, guess what? All of it's canon and we're going to incorporate it. So we've seen it happen before, and unfortunately it seems like it happened with MLP too.
Right.
Number 9.
Not making any more theatrical movies or even a TV movie.
The one and only movie was fantastic.
Yes, really, really loved it. Yes, it had a little bit of flaws here and there, and we wish Discord was in it. But really, they went all out with animation, the songs, the stories,
the voice actors that were guests,
the lesson. It was really one of their biggest things. And it's canonical because you got to watch it before you watch season 8 or 9.
Right.
So we really, really loved the movie.
And we really wish they had done more of those. Now, some of you may say, but they did a lot of Equestria Girl movies, and that is true.
Yes, they did.
We appreciate those movies, but we wanted another one like this where they were ponies.
And they were
with
grand,
some extra characters coming in, doing an adventure.
And grand scale it.
Exactly. And we really wish they had done that. And last, number 10, Everfree should have never been a movie, just a special.
Right. And we say this because we actually did enjoy the Equestria Girl movie / specials that were on TV and in the theater.
Which we have covered all of them. Some of them may be coming up in a playlist now that you can check out our coverage of those.
Right. And the first 2 we really loved. They were probably our favorites. Third one, not bad. It was pretty good. Everfree, it felt like they were starting to stretch with some of the ideas. Like they had a good concept with some equestrian magic being in the forest because of the real Everfree forest in Equestria, but they didn't really take advantage as much as we thought. It was a really simple, sort of basic type of adventure, and we wish they had done more. It's the weakest one to us in the series, and we wish they went back to doing the more grander storylines, like with the Dazzlings and with Sunset being the villain in the first one.
But we have to say they always had great music in the Equestria Girl.
And this one still had great music too.
Absolutely. So, what do you think of our top 10? Do you agree? Disagree? Let us know in the comments. If you think we missed any things that should have never happened, list them in the comments below.
Yes. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates, weekly videos for anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
And lastly, we have a ton of MLP videos on the movies as well as the series. So check them out. Some of them will be coming up or should have been coming up as you were watching this.
Right.
Check them out and be sure to comment and let us know what you think. Thank you so much for joining us for this month's countdown. We have a special one coming for you in February for Valentine's month. You're gonna love it.
Yes.
Thank you for subscribing, sharing our videos, commenting, and everything. As always,
You are special. Thank you so much for watching Mask Entertainment.
and Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.